hair some days. This web page is a free web page, so you get what you pay for, but it's www.kentcrowl.media.com, and that will be in the chat box. And so just let me know.
I've been told this. Tina and I were thinking the weather has probably not helped us.
Okay.
People coming out. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and get started? We don't want to.
Okay.
You want me to do a formal?
Sure. Since we're
introduction?
recording.
Yeah.
I guess
Oh,
we'll be recording.
yes.
Okay.
I've never been on this end. I'm always on the other end watching it. So we're just so happy to have Ken Crowl. He is been a member of the Ollie board for now going on your third year.
Yes.
Yeah. Retired teacher. I think you mentioned that. He's got all kinds of fun stuff that he's always doing. And one of the, I guess, things he's most passionate about is bike riding. Is that a fair statement?
I have a whole lot, and I need to get going. My body's talking back, so you better tear up your tires and get going.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're just excited that he was willing to do this class for us on bikes. And with that, I'll just turn it over to you.
Okay. I'm 65, and got these brothers up here. Back when Steve was 72, he lives here. Max is his 72 son, and I was youngster at 61, and this was in the bike tour of Colorado in 2018. I've always had a bike, and I love to ride. Lets me rent a place to keep my woodworking and my bicycles. So I have a $200 that just keeps going up and up, so I may have to do some things. But where to ride safely, what kind of bike to ride, safety tips, 2-day rides, week-long rides, your local bike shop, your best friend, got all kinds of maps. Oh, I don't like getting lost. And a little bit about advocacy. And if you can't sleep, I have a document from the city of Lubbock that's 129 pages with every idea that they came up with on a PDF on how to public bike pass the streets correctly. And for those that might be on Zoom, they can use the chat feature if you want to relay the questions to me. This was our Ollie sponsor. Back over where it was. It's nice, a little different. Seniors on bike getting started now. David Eggleston here, Dr. David Eggleston, retired fluid dynamics instructor, and his wife, they have a recumbent tricycle. This was taken last September. Yeah, just and he sold me a $500 bike once upon a time. It was President Club down there.
Does he make those?
No, these are he makes a velomobile, and I'll show you. It's similar to this, but it's enclosed. He makes some of those. Him and his wife frequently went to the Netherlands and bought velomobiles and brought them back to Midland. And he reverse engineered them and figured out how to manufacture them in his garage. Starting with a sheet of plywood or sheet of aluminum 5 feet by 12, and they're very fast. He is, let's see, 20 years ago. So when he was 65, he rode his velomobile coast to coast.
Oh,
I have a video of that. But the format on today's deal here is use this web page, kentcrowl.weeby.com, and we'll click on some links. I have an art source in Delaware. See your doctor before you get started. No paid endorsements, just some stories where I actually own this. Get out and have fun, feel like a kid again. I've done these summer tours, and this was the Denver Post Ride the Rockies. It was my first week-long tour in 2008. And Steve and Max and I generally do it together. 2010, 2012, 2015. If we're not doing those, we did another one called Bike Tour Colorado. It's out of business now. But since this was sponsored by the Denver Post newspaper, we had all kinds of videographers and advertisers and sponsors and beer and everything like that.
How many miles do you go in something like that?
Most of those are between 400 and 500 miles.
Wow.
The first one we did was Ragbrai. They put a map on the shirt so you can't get lost. 444 miles, 2006. And we didn't know what we were getting into. It was a Team Army Reserve group. So Steve and I got in his truck. We drove to Muscatine, Iowa, and found the National Guard Armory, and they let us camp out there that night. And the next day, a used car guy came in with a school bus for the Army reservists. We packed our tents and our bicycles, and this bus was redesigned like a conference room chair, so they could sit around the chair and talk to each other. And we had a food truck cook dinner for us every night. We had a guy on a motorcycle that would take off at 4 in the morning, and he would call us at 6, and he would tell us on the cell phone where we were camping that night. And it was something like 400 meters northwest of the flagpole at City Hall. So you had to find City Hall. Well, there could be a little Army man. And
So did you have to carry all your?
on the bus carried.
Oh, okay.
And the cook set up the tents.
Okay.
If you, as long as you didn't have too large, he said no 3-bedroom tents, you know, 1 and 2-person tents.
Yeah, but sleeping, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, right? Camping
It's,
and every.
on these week-long tours, it's lights out at 9 o'clock because we're getting up at 4:45. If you're slow, you get up early so that you'll be first in line when the chow opens at 5 o'clock. And if you're waiting around, you say, hey, I'll make the coffee for you, let me in early. So we got in early that way. These guys are in Santa Fe. They're the Santa Fe seniors on bikes. And they have a really neat club. I contacted them, hey, man, can you show us such the best group pictures? They ride 3 or 4 times a week. And in any direction from Santa Fe. So I want to give them a shout out. We just ask, in general, I'm not going to make you watch an 11-minute health and wellness video unless you want to. It's not got all the stuff. Who's interested in pavement riding? Okay, 1, 2. Who's interested in off-pavement riding?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know enough to know what I'm interested in.
30.
I mean, Forest Road's great. I got a farm out here at Drake County.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, can't ride on these days, but
Well, you could, but as long as you're going one way.
The only time I'm going down Broadway is on the July 4th parade. I'm not, they got nice bike lanes, but I'm not going to go down there because the tires on that thing will get stuck in there.
Oh, and the bricks.
My lovely wife has got me an air ambulance card that I carry. So I put this wrist, I put that wrist, up the chin.
You're not selling this very well.
Well, you heal fast. You heal fast.
Yeah.
I've got all these benefits of cycling, but I want to come down here to this heat map. Not so much on here. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you know about Strava. Okay, Strava is a free GPS app that you can put on your phone. So I'm kind of an advocate, and I don't mind going down to City Hall, and I have on occasion. I got to click through a couple of things here, but this worth having. And I can turn on labels and turn this off. So I could spend an hour just on this heat map. The white lines are where people ride the most around. And the bike trails at Bay Simmons get a lot of riding. It's free, it's city. There's our cemetery. It's a nice, peaceful place to ride. No cars hardly. The white line down through here. Oh, by the way, here's the loop, and here's 50th. You know what is piled up out there?
Loop and 50th.
Yeah, here's the loop. There's 50th. There's the local cemetery. You know what's piled up right there? All the debris from the 1970 tornado.
Oh, wow.
So you ride along, you'll see broken brick, broken glass, occasionally it's free water. And you can't see most of it because the weeds are way high, and it's not a place to go if you have allergies. But these people are coming down through, they're riding their bike under the loop and making extra trails out there. Trails in the race cemetery. This is part of a Fort Worth and Denver Railroad that goes over there to Kitty. And up here is Sunrise Rehab Hospital. Sometimes they'll park up there because they have video cameras on everything in the parking lot. And just depends who's out there. It's a free place to ride, but you want to have no flat. You want to have stands in your tires or ring tubes and everything because mosquitoes and stuff.
What about safety? Are you ever worried or?
I wear a helmet. I don't wear earplugs.
Yeah.
Even if you're riding on the street, your head's on a swivel. I have some sunglasses that have a take a look square mirror on them. And with modern cars having the headlights on, that helps me tell if someone's coming.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of mirrors. I've had them all. I broke most of them, but the take a look that clips onto your helmet or your sunglasses, man, I can see who's coming up, and I can give them a signal. If I see them, they come around, and I got a whole lot about safety here
Okay.
and how to avoid cars and how to also avoid accidents with
Okay.
other bicyclists. But if I get on this heat map here and I come over here to Ransom Canyon, Mr. Terry, these white lines, there's a group that meets at the Chisholm truck stop down there on the Slayton Highway, and they like to do a road box, a road sprint. But then there's a lot of them that like to do the East Riverside, West Riverside, and Ransom Canyon area, the Nice Hills, you get to use all those gears that are on there. On this map, if I'm trying to get across town, I live close to 82nd and Frankfurt, and I have a lot of different maps, but north to south across town, Memphis is the one that I like to go on. And I get up here, and we can cross the loop, go right on up. I don't go up that way. Here, we'll go. I get up here around the cotton warehouses. I get on the loop for a little bit, and then I come back down on the Canyon Lakes Road. Slow cars. The cars are moving slow, and they're used to have lots of cyclists out there. So let's go. We have a Thursday night ride that goes from LP&L, goes out here by Ivy Cottages, greenhouses, goes up here to Regis, and comes up here to the FedEx warehouses and back. It's an area where there's very little automobile traffic. Tuesday, Thursday night ride, 2 hours. But some of them get there and they go a little further. Sorry about that. I'm a little more. I'm just going to leave that like that for now. I'll come back. I zoom out here, and there's some boxes around Plainview because they have a ride in September, and all those guys have their straw on, so it shows where they're going. The free version of Strava is, oh, right, here we go. It used to tell me who else I was racing with, how I ranked with them, because it times me, it's like a computer. Caprock Canyons, Trailways. Okay, here is South Plains, and there's the Flat Park, and John Ferris. There's a tunnel back over in here. There's a trailhead, and up the Kitty. The first part of this is pretty rough, but you can scoot around it on the Farm Market Road. And Caprock Canyon State Park. It's just it's such a gem to have right here close. And, you know, it's advertised as this 64-mile trailway from South Plains through Kitty over to Turkey, northeast, and Tampico side. There's nothing there. And get on over here, Parnell Station, there's nothing there. I haven't been way over here. You get over here to Eston. You know what the rule is on Highway 287 Eston? If the speed limit is 70 and you're going 71, you're done. He will write you up. It's a two-person police department, the judge and the judge. That's a cash cow for them because it's a big, nice highway. But the problem is, Parks and Wildlife, this trail here on this old railroad track is not maintained. There's lots of bridges with boards missing. They don't drive their pickup truck on that part. They do maintain it from Turkey to Kitty Way.
This shows how much I don't know. Is this like a road
This
or
is a rail, this is a Fort Worth and Denver Railroad right of way.
so you're riding on dirt at that?
You're on a cinder dirt, the rails are gone, most of the wood cross ties are gone,
Okay.
and most. Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell you, it's rough. Okay, let's zoom in really
I would
good.
think one would be enough.
I tried it, but
You
What's
did,
that?
you did that? What did you
well, I
show?
went to, anyway, I was gonna ride it.
Yeah.
And first of all, we followed that trail in my truck. I was seeing, I thought, still can't ride. So I appreciate you talking about it, because I don't know where I can, because
Here's what brother Steve and I did. Here's what we did. It's not gonna show it on this map here. Grayview, Monk's Crossing, okay. There's a parking lot at Monk's Crossing, the trailhead. Driving up from Lubbock, we'll get over here to the community of South Plains. We'll stop there and we'll hide some water. And we'll hide some water and we'll leave a floor plan right there. Now, we carry water, we carry inner tubes, cell phones, emergency stuff, but we'll ride up the trail, gentle brake, real easy to here, check our tires, and then ride the pavement back down. Get up here to 660, 689, and traffic is light. Coming down through here, there's somebody wrote it, recorded it, and we get back to Monk's Crossing. And it's a straight, boring 5 or 6 miles to Kitty Way. Sometimes we camped out at the state park and ridden down here, and we'll look at this tunnel here in a little bit. I'll spend a little bit more time on this, but I want to show you. Remind me to come back to Caprock Canyons. On this map, with this heat map that I can show people with, involved in what's going on. Over here, there's Powder Canyon. We got a really cool cancer fundraising event, June 4th, it's on the list. It's 24 hours in the canyon. And its webpage is on here. And you have teams, 1-man team, 2-man team, 6-man teams, and there's competitive and non-competitive, and ride around that canyon for 24 hours, or you can ride on the highway. You can, part of the deal takes them up on the plains. And the promoter is a Civil Carrington Cancer Center in Amarillo, and they have booked all the campsites at Powder Canyon for that weekend. So when they run out of campsites, they cut the registration off. But this, oops, in Canyon, growing up, my dad was a football coach before I came along. So here's the old highway. Here's the new highway. Here's the Buffalo Stadium. I think they've got to do something. But this is a Canyon Trails at Buffalo Hill. And it's white because it's solid mountain bikes going back and forth. Because people want a whole bunch of road bikes are moving to mountain bikes because they can ride without cars, without cell phones, without distracted drivers, and all that stuff. So, see if I can get this to go back up. Tina, I'm gonna try to move this bar, okay? Or can you move it on yours?
No, I can't. I don't have it. There you go.
Right, there. Something else on that list? I want to show you. Oh, let's talk about Ragbrai for a minute. We'll come over here and say Mars, Iowa. Mars, Iowa. Tell you what, I'll just do this. On this heat map, just zoom out a couple. I know it's 1,250 miles from Lubbock to the finish line. City, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas City, Missouri. Des Moines. Okay. My first multi-day ride was Ragbrai in 2006. And it started in Mars, in Cherokee, Storm Lake, Sac City was an overnight, Fort Dodge, Iowa Falls, Waterloo, ends in Clinton, Sioux City, Vermillion. This is the Missouri River. Over here, where the finish line is Mississippi River. This is only 400 feet above sea level, so it's humid. But it's just such a neat ride, and there's lots of people that all over. 17,000 people do this ride, but it's right on. This is updated every year, so the data that's on here is not a year old. They've been doing this ride since 1973, and there's our route from 2021. Okay, we can get off this back stuff. One of my favorite ones, Caprock Canes. This one's a powder drone video I showed a minute ago. I'm not going to make you watch every single one of these on here, but you can have a question. This mountain bike park, okay. This was a 95 acre plot, and right here is fire station number 5. So we have fire station EMS right close to us. The green is a real easy walking. This is Billy Hex Road. This is Highway 191, living in Odessa. The green, the blue, and the red. So we can challenge everybody. And it's in the country. Well, it used to be in the country. It used to be a place where all the Odessa cars used to go shove the wrecks off down that hole. We called the police to come out and get them. Midland guys have their trail, and there's a draw through there that's pretty cool. So, you know, it doesn't look like you think about Midland on there. And just a minute on this thing. Everybody's got drone cameras. I don't have a drone. Most of my pictures are on those point and shoot digital cameras, but it's kludgy, and we get out there, paint the rocks. People go through. We ask them to be a PPPA member or pay $5 to come use our trails. And if it rains, we ask them to not come out and use our trails because they'll run them up. But Stan's no flat tires are recommended. He's got a 29er trails bike, but any kind of bike you want to take out there, you can. And we'll have some races from time to time. If I have Caprock Cane, it's okay. Johnny. Do a little, try this out here. I'm going to have some ads in here. So, like that. All right, nice. Okay. Get the speaker all over here.
That's, yeah. Unmuted.
Okay. Here's another, this is a Strava again. South Plains, Silverton, come down here, it's a general railroad track ride, and he goes to the tunnel. The tunnel's built in the 27, 28 by some of my dad's uncles. And
Sort of like the western terminus of the Caprock Canyon Trailway.
there is a post office.
Here in the small town
If you call them, they're
of
open, they
South
can
Plains, Texas.
have you
The high
water.
plains,
This is the
very
roughest part.
flat landscape.
It's rough because
So
of the
there's the
railroad
trail.
tie, but they didn't pick
And
up.
so a couple miles out in that direction,
It's, you just go off the saddle,
of the
2 miles,
line,
if you go that way.
will drop down into the canyon. And from there on, it'll be very rugged, canyon terrain. So I think we drop about 600 feet.
You won't have any cars. Very rough. In the summertime, on Friday nights, you can get a band that will take you up there to watch the bats take off on Friday nights. $10 a head.
Opens up.
Caprock Canyon's trailway, the 64-mile trailway.
Where are they at?
Oh, they're inside the tunnel. I'll show you. It's called Clarity Tunnel. And, it's a telegraph pole up there.
Right back there. Story landscape in Texas. Just a few miles later.
Up through those sandstone. This guy's a geologist, so he's got a few geology lessons. Still on. There's half a dozen vault toilets out there. The map shows water, but there's no water. There used to be some water for the horses.
Goes the direction of.
Yes, it is.
Siltstone down. What is the base of that sandstone man that starts?
Okay, geology lesson.
That's in deeper. So right about here, look. Those clues, let's figure out what environment the sandstone.
See tunnel at 6 minutes. What my notes say.
So, right here at the base, see, where your conglomerate, very common at the base.
Okay. At one time, there were like 8 or 9 railroad tunnels going off the cap. This is the last one. You can camp on either side. Here comes another vault toilet out there. Okay,
So one thing about this tunnel.
you're gonna ride in this tunnel on your bicycle. The sign says to walk your bikes through because of the bats. But this time of year, there's no bats. This time of year, there may be a deposited guano. And you can either bring in an extra pair of shoes, take the old car, it's ammonia. But I would get inside here and get my eyes to acclimate a little bit. I have a headlight up here, and I point it to where I can see where I'm going. 2 ruts generally. They don't clean it as often as they should. But so you might want to get back. You might want to make a practice run at it to get in the right gear, because you don't want to have to stop. If you get through there just right, I've never had to get off my bike and get stuff on my shoes. It's just a thing. I'm just going to think ahead. It's 800 feet long. And it's a curve. So once you go in, you can't see the end.
Once you walk it right through.
The bats, there might be a 500,000 Mexican free-tail bats in there in the summertime.
A half a million?
500,000. I don't know how they count 500,000. Wooden structure,
Well, that's cool.
95 years old. There's occasionally some steel, but it's out of ways. They drive a truck down through here. And to maintain it, they get in there with the bobcat and scoop it up.
Something special.
So the bats migrate?
They migrate to Mexico. And they come back and they like this place. They prefer a tunnel that's not open in the whole thing, because they like the high humidity way back in there. But You can kind of see the two ruts, you can kind of see some bicycle tires through there. And it says in English and Spanish not to pick up that bats are flopping around. But it looks just like Congress Avenue in Austin.
Yeah.
You see, it looks like smoke coming out. There's another video somewhere that shows a bunch of bull snakes in here, trying to climb up the sides.
Yeah, no, you've lost.
But you're on your bike, you're just pedaling, just keep pedaling, you'll see the light, just keep pedaling. And it's okay if you're not right with somebody else, so that neither one of you gets the dust kicked up.
Yeah.
He's hearing some squeaky noises, unidentified squeaky noises.
The other side.
$10 a person in the Parks and Wildlife van, they'll take you out there. And somewhere they have to turn around and take you back out. And you just have to call and get a reservation. So something I put in for an Ollie trip sometime.
So that's who maintains all of this is
Parks
Texas
and Wildlife.
Forest.
Now, buffalo in this area,
There are in the Caprock Canyon State.
there are, but.
Yeah,
Are they
not on
just
this.
not?
Wild pigs, deer, rattlesnakes. And
Can you outrun one of those wild pigs? What?
you will hear them, and by the time you see them, they're taking off.
Okay.
They don't like to be harassed. As part of their survival, a secret, I think. Caprock Canyon State Trailway.
So right now, I've got about 3 miles to go.
The bike club here usually has something down there once a year with a picnic at the end and the Monks Crossing Trailhead, West Texas Cycling Association. And these guys right here, Caprock Canyon Mountain Bike Buffalo Encounter. You know, I sat around, I worked on this stuff. Three boys from Tech, camping out, it's chilly, cold. Pick up the mountain bikes. Buffalo with 3 minutes and 40 seconds. It's a really nice trail. You don't have to jump and everything. Really nice trail. There's you typically see somewhere around 90 to 150 buffalo. If you get it the right day. Don't get it hard. Okay? Move this on up a little bit. And you might hear an F-bomb. Okay? You might say the same thing. You saw a buffalo come at you.
Yeah.
Got the camera got in front. He wasn't bad. He's got a chest camera or something. But this is pretty good. Now what? He takes off. He got his blood pressure up on his mountain bike.
So this is one of the trails in.
In Caprock Canyon State Park.
Right there on the bike.
During COVID, during the freeze, the big freeze, it froze their water lines to their bathrooms and showers. And it was, I went up there and looked around, and there's a cabin on Lake Theo. It's, they don't get it anymore. It has so many things wrong with it. The buffalo would come up out of the lake, and they rub on stucco. But really nice, well-equipped 2-bedroom stucco building. My wife says no more tents for her. That's okay. But Anyway, lots of places to go at Caprock Canyons. There's Prairie Dog Town. There's got a friend here, a wood turning club who used to fix copy machines. They called him, hey, come out here to Caprock Canyons. We got funny noise in our copy machine. They turned. He went out there to check it out. Ran some copies. Didn't hear anything. Ran some more copies. Got the funny noise. He grew up in Colorado City. He was in the 70s. Rattlesnake curled up underneath the copy machine. He liked the cold concrete, so he caught the rattlesnake, fixed the copy machine for him. And he
All
says,
in a day's
he says,
work.
you know, y'all shouldn't leave the door wide open around here. It's nice air conditioning. They're real good about telling you if there's snow and ice, so that you don't go down this deal. It used to be a lot steeper, but if there's snow or ice in the forecast, they'll keep you off of that. But, nice camping places. It's a real treat to have here. And it's okay to walk by. They should be able to ride those bikes out there. Just depends on what they have. Questions? Anything on the chat, the Zoom? Ask us a question in there.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, just a bunch of links here. And this is the state park. And we'll try to download this PDF right here. Those are the trails that are in the canyon area. And that green line there is the trailway. And this is a trailhead at Munch Crossing. And that tunnel is right in this area. It's pretty neat area. My dad grew up in Beaumont down here. And we had some farmland there. Okay. South Plains, mile marker 301, Clarity Tunnel, mile marker 289. So you're looking 12 miles down the way. And Munch Crossing, mile marker 284. So, 15 miles up and about 17 miles back down, 33-mile round trip. And don't worry about the bats. Another excuse to go down this way is Bob Wills Day, last Saturday in April, is on for Turkey. And I used to take some stuff down there. They have a parade and breakfast league and lots of vendors and all that good stuff. There's 400 people live in Kitty and there's about 400 in Turkey. And right in between is the Valley High School, and next to the high school is the drive-in theater that has changed hands a few times. It's been closed for years. This was the last one. Okay.
Candace wanted to know, do you do your own maintenance or do you use a local shop?
Both ways. If I have something that's a little over my head, I'll take it to the bike shop. This road bike has a triple on the front and a 9-speed on the back, and I want it dialed in. So if I'm going in Colorado 50 miles an hour and I shift gears, I want to make sure it goes in just like it should. Velocity Bike Shops work on some of my stuff, South Plains and in Midland Peyton's bikes. And then they can also advise me on getting the exact right tubes and tires and all that kind of stuff. Bike shop labor, just figure about $65 an hour. They have people every day bring in an old bike that they want to ride, and they like the old bike, but the old bike it's seen better days. And you can buy a lot of bicycle now for $1,000. Well, back up there, we had a bike boom during COVID, and the Walmart was out of bikes. The bike shops are out of bikes. They're having trouble getting components, and you order a bike. It's been a real rough year. They sold everything they had, but I let them put help me with the cables. You buy a bike, it's going to have 4 cables on there, and after 30 days, they'll go stretch. So if you buy a bike from a bike shop, you take it back to the bike shop, and you have a tech get those cables slacked out of. If you buy online, probably gonna get the wrong size, and it's just not gonna, doesn't always work. Brother Steve's got a whole garage full of bikes, and he's gotta have one more.
Now, the bike tires, the car tires over time with age.
Yeah.
The bike tires do the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So,
Especially, you know, I keep all my stuff out of the sun. You know, if it's the kids' bikes or just Walmart, Target bikes are just almost disposable. You got to keep them out of the sun. All bikes are going to lose air. And I'm going to ABC. I'm going to air up the cap tubes. We'll check the air and we'll check the chain and before every ride, and check the brakes and before every single ride.
What was ABC?
A is air in the tires, B is brakes, and C is chain. Is your Al following me around? Are this okay? Let me just jump on this for a little bit. This bike is a carbon fiber road bike, Annandale. And the year before I got this one, it used to say made in the USA in Pennsylvania. But when I got mine, it's made in China. This is a 19-pound bike. And these are Continental tires. I just don't have flats because after every ride, I give it the blind man check and I get anything that's stuck in that. There's something right there. Anything that's in there, I take it out and I use Presto valves on this and I air them up really good. There's all kinds of sealants, but for a road bike, I'm just watching where I'm going all the time. And I've had all kinds of pedals. I'm going with flat pedals and stiff shoes because if you don't maintain your pedals, it won't let your shoe out of there when you come to a stop. So you can see them come to a stop and you can't get out and you're falling down and you're going to stick your arm out there. Doctor said, yeah, all these old people stick their arms out and pop right there at that wrist. This one has a riser on it that I use to put this up a little higher so I don't bend down so much. And this is a mountain bike seat. It's whatever you want to do. It's your bike. And I have right now this speedometer, the computer here, and this is a magnet. This is my magnet back here because this is on a stand in my garage so I can train on it and I can count my miles here. If I put this up here where it's supposed to go, it doesn't pick up. But if I have this going here, every time that magnet comes by this, there's a battery in this, there's a battery in this, and a nice computer. It's great to have. And of course, quick release with 4 cables on there, really nice. Now, whatever you have that fits you, since we're not as flexible as we used to be, a lot of people, I've never had a bike stolen. I have been asked to leave Walmart with my bike before because I take it in with me. And I told the 21-year-old sales associate, but I'm going to the bicycle department so I can get the right tubes for this machine. And it's easier for me to take the bike to the bicycle department than for you to bring all the tools to the front. She thought about it. Well, be careful. And so I don't buy very much Walmart, but it's a mile from the house, and it's really good. This ABCs of awareness, always run your lights even at daytime. The biomotion of your feet, legs, and hands, and have contrast. The fluorescence is going to show up in the daytime and the reflective at night. So when I go to an event, I can find the people that agree with my philosophy. You're going to have a bright helmet. And a few of them a few of them, we all show up with our blinky light hooked onto the back. We have this one. Headlight is needing replacement. I have Christmas presents I haven't used yet, and high vis socks so that I have you can see me a little bit there, and another light on the back. And I like to ride my 29-inch mountain bike around. It's got a light that hooks into your USB, recharges, and has blinking white and blinking red, and I can put it on the front, the back, and I'm going to make sure they see me. I'm going to make sure that I take the lane sometimes. I make eye contact. I'm going this way, I'm going this way. I'm going this way. And they're all for me. Got a couple of stories over here. I got a bunch of things on books. And this is a free book. I called Bike Texas, but they haven't answered my phone, but I got one. It's chapter 3, Seniors on Bikes. Dex Took is a cyclist from Del Rio. He's done the race across America, and it's come through Texas. We've had him come to our Permian Basin Bicycle Club. Very interesting. They have 11 days to get from California to Annapolis. So they got a ride 22 hours out of a 24-hour day, and his wife is on there, and she shared with us her recipe to keep him from getting saddle sores. They change clothes about every 6 hours anyway, but
So this is a salve or something?
oh yeah, it's a concoction. I've never had problems with that. Some have, and it's just being clean and hygiene and antimicrobial stuff and chamois butter and there's some more of my Christmas. Now, it's at least $100 this pair.
Wow.
Your honey is worth it. When I do the bike tours, I take a little bucket and a little, I guess it's a 1.5 gallon bucket, and I wash my bike clothes in the shower truck or in the swimming pool or wherever we are. And I take them back and I hang them up on the handlebars or on the tent. And I take 3 bottoms and 3 tops. And I haven't worn this one but a couple of times, but these bike jerseys have pockets in here. What I'm doing nowadays, I've got a skin thing going on. It's hereditary, and I just gotta stay out in the sun. It's these spots, and I can put sunscreen on it. I put sunscreen on. I put these UV 50 shirts on. I've got a whole bunch of them, and I can put a water bottle in here. This is a 3X, so it fits loose on me. I can put jacket. If I put a rain jacket in, I probably won't get rain on it. But if I don't put the rain jacket in Colorado, I'm gonna get soaked or get snow. But good stuff on that.
Or get snowed on? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. Bike Tour Colorado was a family of 4, and the kids finally all grew up and didn't want to do it anymore. This is one of their promo videos, and everybody's dancing and they're having fun and making lots of friends, and it's really pretty safe. But we have had that particular tour has been up there 10,000 foot in snow and rain and had to get school buses and pick us up from one place and take us across the pack. You put your bag in that U-Haul truck and you got to make it to the next town. So that you can get your stuff. You're tired in the morning. And under my seat. And got my cactus, got a cactus on my helmet. And everybody's got to get their picture up here.
What's the owl?
It's like summer camp.
What's that?
What's the altitude?
Independence Pass is over 12,000. And also Independence Pass, the road is one lane. There's a sign that says, caution, this is Cottonwood Pass, it's now been paved. But it was hard packed dirt and it's only open June, July, and August. But since they had that big mess in Glenwood Canyon, that rock slide that it went across I-70 in 10 different places, by July, August, by September, 60 days they had it open again, but really cramped transportation up there. But yeah, 10,000, Leadville's 10,200 feet. And Independence Pass is 12,000. Let's see if I can find the one that says it's Twin Lakes. There we are in rain. You just slow down and you let some air out of your tires, and you got all day. All you got to do is get to where your bags are and find your bags. At the end of a 80, 90 mile day, one time over there, around Berkeley, Steve will talk to anybody. He's really fast rider. There's the bags. You got to remember what truck you put your bag on. So there's a truck A, B, C, D, E, F, and if you just big old letter, you got to remember which truck you put your bag on. I always try to go on the first one. My speed secret was to get out of the tent 4:45, get in front of the chow line, get my breakfast, get my tent put up, get my bag in line on the A or B truck. So just in case I had to catch a sag, there's a van or a trailer, and they'll come pick you up. Sometimes they'll take you all the way. Sometimes just take you to the next mountaintop. So I get back on and I'll find my bag. Steve had a red and black bag, a red and black hockey bag. Someone got his bag at Burford Pass with all his clothes and everything, and took it to their motel or whatever. We got up there, I got there, and usually whoever in our group, if I got there first, I would go find their bags and put them all together. Save them 10 minutes to get the shower, get the tent set up, get to the dining hall or wherever it's going. Steve, your bag is not here. So we talked to the representatives, described it. They got I have a big name tag on mine. I have a big square suitcase with wheels from the thrift shop. You know, if it gets rained on, there's all kinds of stuff, backpacks. But he didn't have any clothes that night to wear. So I'm 220, he's 170. I had some shorts, and I let him have some of my shorts, but real baggy. We went out to eat, and he survived. But you got to keep up with your bag. You have a wristband with a number, and then you have a tag that goes on your bicycle with that number, and it goes on your helmet with that number, and it goes on your stuff. So there's lost and found. There's people that lose their bikes, they lose their luggage, they lose their helmets, because they're not always thinking 100% in the day. It's easy to lose your cell phones. Steve lost his cell phone after that ride. We found it the next year. It was one of those silver
Oh my
Nokia
gosh.
phones. It was at the bottom of his sleeping bag. We got it out next year there. Of course, who got the blame? You know, damn it, Kim, where's my phone? I said, man, Steve, I touched your phone. You always lose stuff. And how we doing? We have time?
No, we still have like a half an hour.
Huh?
We have like a half an hour.
Okay, I hit something up here. Jump back over here.
How much do these kinds of things cost?
You pay $500. That's going to provide you, but you can do it. You can do it if you wanted to volunteer. Maybe you didn't want to ride. Maybe you just want to go to Colorado. You like helping other people out. you like to meet some new friends, you can volunteer, especially if you have some medical or teacher, bloodborne pathogens and first aid. And 2018 was our last year we went. 2017, Steve was over here doing something on his barbecue grill and spilled some boiling hot water on his foot.
Oh,
He had a blister that week. Max, who's pushing 80, his doctor told him to not exert himself at high altitude. Our dad had congestive heart failure, so we were all on Lipitor, we
Yeah.
all had stents and all that stuff. So he wasn't supposed to ride. They got Max a job driving a SAG truck, a big old U-Haul truck, and he would drive the truck, and then he would make the Gatorade. And some of them make Gatorade, and some of them, there's Max right there. People want water or Gatorade, and they're real picky. They want certain flavors of Gatorade. But we're out in the middle of nowhere, and this is what I got. Got orange or got water.
yeah.
And then there's different brands, and we encourage people just to get those little single serve things and do those. But you can be a volunteer on this thing, and they will put you up in your motel, and they'll feed you, and they'll give you 1 or 2 t-shirts. And you will need to get up early because you, especially if you're at aid station 1, 2, 3, you'll need to get up early. This man is doing watermelons in here, and his wife is doing oranges and bananas. And there's the Gatorade crew. This is an older picture, but the same guy did the Gatorade every year. You know, he had his power crew, and he's mixing it up. He's cutting bananas as fast as you can. Usually there's somebody there doing peanut butter and jelly. So they got to set up the tents, they got to set up the tables, they got to get the food out, and then they got to pick up all the trash, plastic, big trash. And sometimes there's tubs of water, so you can dunk your hands in the water before you go to the feed line, because there's porta cans, but there's not always real high. Take care of yourself. There's one called Biking Across Kansas, and 1 year it was barking across Kansas because they didn't take care of the hygiene and stuff. On the MS rides, you asked me a little bit about the MS rides. The MS rides are what got me started on this thing. I guess I've done 20 of them. And here's where I'll put those. Okay. Multiple sclerosis. I was teaching at Goddard Junior High, and a teacher asked me, a young teacher, she said, can you take a piece of wood and put some composts on there so we can get all these dorm keys straightened out for the dorms at Howard College School for the Deaf and explain what we're staying at night. I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I said, what's for? So it's the MS 150, it's the Cactus and Crew ride. So every year I get another one. Okay. And some 3X. Somewhere along the line, I switched to 3X. I told you that already. I wore this one when I hit my chin in Odessa, and I also wear that in the July 4th parade. I like a bright colored one. The Army guys gave us some that had digital camouflage on it. Are y'all trying to get us here? I just worry about that a little bit. Fort Davis, remind me about the MS. Fort Davis on the committee, and this is in third weekend of September. Fort Davis Cycle Fest. You get to ride around the scenic loop down there. The scenic loop is 75 miles. We have finally got really good partners with the Lions Club. So the Lions Club runs our aid stations. We asked the Honor Society 1 year. We thought it was all set. We didn't realize that they had a football game 500 miles away the night before none of them showed up. So I ended up doing a aid station over in Alpine, but we don't go to Alpine anymore. But this is a race on Sunday morning, and I put my point shoot camera on that little reflector thing, and I got them going up the hill, got the front of them going up the hill, and they were supposed to put their rear ends going on the back side, but you know, they use the same picture. So anyway, there's 2 cars and the starting line here, and these guys are in a 7-mile race up to the Mount Lock Observatory. First, second, third women are gonna have some cash prizes. And one of my doctors in Odessa was Scott Sanford, and that's his wife, Maylene, right there. And Kelly Brown. So we know the racers are on the front, and they can't, man, I'm on the jersey. Can I buy 10 of those? We raised the price so long. But we've got our map, and we've got our elevation on here. And so it's a long way down there at Fort Davis, but we sure have a good event. We get people that will make the drive from Dallas and from,
Can we have another question?
Okay.
Just have you ridden in the Yellow House area? Like Yellow House Canyon, I think?
Yellow House Canyon and all the canyon lakes, all that's paved, I have. Up there where the Lubbock Lakes landmark area is, I haven't ridden up there in decades. In college, it was a place to take your dirt bikes and Jeeps. I remember driving under the 289 before they put water in there by Scout. There was a cliff. We took my roommate's Chevy Blazer. We got backed up, and we ran and went up that cliff, and we jumped, and we came down so hard the starter would go. University and Loop 289 on the corner, there used to be a Texaco station. We walked to the Texaco station, got a ride home. MS Ride. Yes, oh, on the MS, I have a fundraising page here, and I'm able to do spin art records, and I'm not at the Lubbock Arts Festival this year, but that's what I do to get donations, $5, $10, $15 at a time. And I have just a modest over $1,000 on here. I'm on an EOG resources team, EOG Oil and Gas. So EOG Outspoken is our cycling team. And since I have a sponsor, they'll match us dollar for dollar. And that helps us out. If I go here, they got some nice pictures, but they're not us. Our team is number 1. Now that's someone's recording the miles. Someone's got 189 miles in there. That's not what I'm going to get to. I use this all the time. Ride details are not up yet. Volunteers. That's most senior bunch again. We get a whole lot of high school, junior, senior, college, freshman, sophomores, and we can document their service hours. And for new riders, all that you need to know about what you need. But one little thing I have on here that helps me tell a story. If I have a camera or picture here, I have. This bike has MS. This bike has MS. So it looks like a regular bike. This is an Australian.
Look at me. I just look like a normal person. My symptoms are hidden. My symptoms are hidden. It's a perfect way to teach people what the symptoms are like. We've done some amazing modifications to the bike. We've actually taken teeth out of the different pumps, so it skips. They'll be on an easy gear, all of a sudden they'll be on hard gear. That's going to be like having spasticity in our legs. We put a bend in the frame, so that's going to be really difficult for them to balance. The spokes aren't all tightened evenly, so the wheels will shake a bit. This seat is horrible. We've put a really hard plastic seat on it. You wouldn't be able to get comfortable. The handlebars, we've put bearings and little wire throughout it because we want people to experience not so much the pins and needles that you get from sitting on your hand, because then they just go away. It'd be great to have somebody having to hang on for 50 kilometers and think, oh God, I can't get rid of this horrible feeling. The wheels and the frame we've also made heavier. So once they stop, they start to go again, it's going to be much heavier to get up and running. by the end of it, they're absolutely shattered. Absolutely shattered. And I don't care who it is. I think it'll be a really, really tough ask. You don't get to be an elite athlete without going through your fair share of pain. But riding this bike will be nothing like you've ever experienced before. So I put a challenge out. Come and ride this bike in an MS Melbourne cycle.
So the bike looks like a normal bike, but it's, multiple sclerosis has, it attacks the myelin around your nerves. So a lot of people have trouble walking. They have trouble with the heat at our events. It's the third week in July. And so we'll see a lot of them will be at the starting line at 7 in the morning for us. This one, Texas MS 150, you can start in Houston or Austin, and you meet in the Grange, and the next day you finish at Texas A&M at Calgary. Unfortunately, nature hasn't been nice to them. They've rained out, flooded out. Sometimes it's the first day, sometimes it's the second day. Coming up here in week on Roundup ride is based in Frisco. And part of that ride, the riders get to ride their bikes around that NASCAR racetrack. And they open it up for them. Ours is called the Cactus and Crew. We'll leave Midland at 7. We'll go to Greenwood, and we do not go up and down the main highway. We're over here to the east, and we have a rest stop about every 15 miles. My philosophy is just give the odd number of things that stop at 2 and 4 and 6. And I can make that 75 miles from Midland to Lavisa in 5 hours and 30 minutes and total time. But I like to tell jokes, you know, and I always volunteers, and I'll say, Michelle, what's the hardest part of the Bike MS Cactus and Crew ride? And they're saying saddle sores, or they're saying sunburn. And I say, no, the hardest part of the ride is the pavement. Anyway, we get up there to the Grange, we have a banquet. I'm cheap, so I camp out at the First Baptist Church gym. I bring up air mattress and sleeping bag. And since I'm the old guy, I know what the light switch is, and a whole bunch of young, first year out of college, well, people who want to play hacky sack or something at 10 o'clock. I go here, it says, lights out in 1 minute. And I click those lights out, it's black. And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, I put the lights back on. There's one in Albuquerque, one in San Antonio, and there's 58 rides. There used to be more, but we're coming back. This ride used to be just one day. Both of our Denver Post Ride the Rockies and Bike Tour Colorado, Houston, they incorporate this Tour of the Moon. And this was in some bicycle movies 4 years ago.
Sheer rock above and below. Beautiful orange and red sandstone monoliths. It's like the Grand
You wanna
Canyon
roll
but
bike,
upside down.
you want to
Today
get
we're riding the Tour of the Moon.
you gotta
You
go
ready?
up 600
Let's roll.
feet. There's
That's
3 tunnels up there. You want to have a headline.
Finishes in Grand Junction.
It starts with, this is a September race. This is our bike tours. They incorporate Tour of the Moon.
41 and 16 miles. Both head straight in the range. Filling up every year.
Same old sandstone cliffs, just like they have there at Speedway.
Bring your climb legs into the moon, sharing more than 3,000
And
kilometers.
I like to play some of these videos with that bike on my trailer in my garage. And at least I'm behind somebody, it makes you feel like you're going
Just
somewhere.
rolls for that one. Climbing starts first, right in the yard house. Park stand to make sure you have front and rear lights. Keep riding mine without them. It's just a little long.
I have another video showing the car passing the double yellow line. That's a volunteer help. The car passed the license in the tunnel. on the double yellow line.
Pull out spots. What nice thing about the early morning start is the warm morning light, which is all the colors of the rock walls. Climb up.
Now, here's a aid station right here, which kind of food they have.
That station is stocked with delicious fresh food, scratch, salty snacks, sweet goodies. He was there to settle him, but pretty much every other spot in the monument are just ridiculous. Once you exit the monument at about mile 7, you have the choice to either ride back to Grand Junction or head north for a gallop around the farmland surrounding Crowl. If you like a little competition, you can race the time segment just on food. If not, just ride at whatever place you like. You're losing on back to Grand Junction for a full meal, good beer, live music, and a big ice cream. Details on tour room.
There's some controversy. They didn't refund everybody during COVID, but, you know, it just does always something. If you're in possibly in your wildest dreams, want to ride with me in the July 4th parade, I gotta skip the 10842 here. This is the
Local news that
KLBK.
matters in your community. KLBK presents Lubbock, the friendliest city in America. It's the Sonic 4th on Broadway Parade with your host,
I told them to put us in the
KLBK's
back of the
John
line,
Nixon,
we weren't ready
Terry
to do
Furley,
it.
and
I had
Ivy
people showed
Wagner.
up wanting me to fix
Today's
the
live
back.
telecast is sponsored by Fibermax.
We did. Okay.
Oh, I would have done, oh, they have a,
Oh, fun, a good bacon.
yes.
Oh, man.
I was gonna say, I don't remember him from the parade.
Skip ad. Okay,
That's great fun. You know, a lot of people last
You
night,
write a
had a great
script.
time over at Buffalo Springs.
They didn't
Lake,
have my
checking out
script. They
their
just
fireworks
made stuff up.
extravaganza.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see. That's like one of my favorite places to watch fireworks.
Here we are.
Over a body of water. You
Yes.
can see it in the air, you can see the reflection in the water. This is one of our favorite interviews every single year.
Yeah,
I got a 2018, 2016, I'm riding this butterfly bike and the weather girl,
Dickie D. Ray.
no, blonde weather girl, she's in the interview at the end. She hopped on the butterfly bike and did a on the butterfly bike interview with me. This is a fireman and his daughter, and the theme was something about the Beatles. So we're supposed to have John Lennon's head back here, but no one knew what it was. And I've got all these in red, white, and blue are Latter-day Saints missionaries. I have a bike trailer with the Beatles and Share the Road and my MS on there. So this is about 3
Yeah.
years.
West Texas Cycling Association, Bike MS.
Bike
Been a big part of this as well.
entropy.
yes,
They
you know, we
didn't
do
really
the,
show up,
the Cactus and Crude ride from Midland back here to Lubbock. It's 150
though.
miles.
Terry Furman did the biking
over
that side
2
one year
days,
with me.
and, you know,
with
raising
her
money
friend
for
at
a
the mall.
great cause.
Ashley.
Those are
Ashley and they were just, they were.
Oh, that's a shaker bike.
That's my kind of bike,
We don't
especially
have-
out here. in
Does it have
West
AC?
Texas. Yeah, if you strap an AC on there, I'd be all over that.
Me too. I'm loving that. And he makes butterfly designs with that butterfly one right there.
Yeah,
He actually makes really cool things, spin art out of, you know, some tires and
yeah,
stuff.
all of those are custom made. I mean, he spends a lot of time making those, and he actually takes those bikes all over the place too.
Yes,
I mean,
he
they-
does.
They got me
And
mixed up.
Hunter Keller over in Wichita Falls, they go down south to San Antonio, they go to different places all over the country.
Yeah, Houston is a big ride,
Yeah.
Houston.
And the MS ride, right, MS
Yes.
140,
50,
50, 150.
150, John, don't forget that extra
Yeah,
10
you know,
miles.
you've done
Oh. Mercy. All right, coming up here, we've got Just a Smile, look at that.
Paddy
They want
Wagner.
to wish America a happy birthday today.
He's right here.
You know, you gotta take care of your face and paint it.
Yeah, that's the best way to avoid any sunburn, right, Heidi?
That's right, definitely gotta wear the sunscreen, and I'm actually joined by Monique and Denise, and their favorite float is my favorite float. I'm really sad that butterfly bike was not saving me a spot this year. What was your favorite one? Really, it was little car. Yeah, little car. The bicycles. And what do you guys have to say to everybody for this 4th of July? Thank you. Thank you very much. Back to you guys.
Oh, I love these kids, they're so cute.
That butterfly bicycle is always really
Yeah,
fun
he
to
had a
see.
rider with it this year.
Yeah, he had a, I think that little kid though, I think that one was working. He was just right.
He was just right.
So these little bit. And you can do any of you don't have to, on these rides over here, my events, this first column, there's bike finder, there's a whole bunch of stuff about electric bikes. I found one guy who, if I was gonna go buy a bike today, I would buy a gravel bike. That it's in between the road bike and the mountain bike. It's lighter, it's heavier than this, but it's lighter than the mountain bike. And the geometry's better, and you can do lots of stuff with it. I had one bike. E-bikes are really hot with seniors. But I've been on one ride on one, and it scared me. And my dad drove motorcycles, and if I put a motorcycle, I got in trouble. So I don't know how to drive a motorcycle.
So how do they think about, all these bike types? Are there e-bikes?
Some are now letting them have e-bikes on, let's say, the first 28 miles. That's a good question. Just have to check the ride because they're so popular. And coming down here, Hotter Hill, I have not done the Hotter Hill because it's the third or fourth week in August. Man, I was teaching school, and I've got junior high, and I've got to get them started right. But you can take a 5 or 10K bike ride on this Hotter Hill 100. You can ride an e-bike on some events. Pay a fee. Okay. Wichita Falls, there's a 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street, 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, 8th Street, 9th Street. If you're in the 100-mile race, they're going to put you on 2nd Street, and you'll be the first batch to leave. If you're doing the 100K, you might be on the 2nd Street. If you've got kids with you, you're going to be at the very tail end. And I don't know how they did this, because it looks like these people, if I was standing in the middle of this overpass, I would get hit. I don't know if this camera is suspended off of a cable or something, but there's some people in here I know, and this is at 6X, and it still takes a minute, 12 seconds at 6 speed to show them on. Sometimes you'll see a gap, and that's where a gap between the lines. And you look over here far right, you see somebody that's already got a flat tire, didn't make it up the hill. But I know some of these people, but I'm not going to find them again. All right. And, there's a cannon that lets everybody know. Okay, we got a gap here. We got a motor vehicle coming. 100. Just history on this. They wanted something for Wichita Falls to fill the motels and the restaurants, and a guy from New York brought a binder down, and they were going to have a rocking chair contest. Someone did it back in the Midwest. So they're going to do a rocking chair contest, and the committee says, no, we just don't think we're going to fill up our motels with a rocking chair contest. No, Steve, he gets down there, he gets a tent, and he gets some electric air conditioners. He hooks those electric air conditioners up to some power, and he air conditions his tent. And here we go. I'm gonna see if I can find the kids down here when the second 8 UTV comes out. Got a big gap here, and you may see some more like families coming up. But the kids and the parents and grandparents, they can do the shorter route on here. The e-bikes, man. Get down here close to the end. So you heard that cannon go off 10 minutes ago. Now you're finally moving. Here he comes. We'll stop him right there. Okay. I've got some kids in here and a whole bunch more kids. If you ride with kids or grandkids, take them out and practice riding. Help them keep straight. And this second one says on this machine back, it says 10K. And there they are.
We had another question. Kent, are you familiar with, I think it's Bontrager's helmets?
name brand. They make tires and helmets and, you know, this is the name brand, nationally advertised brand. This was a G-Roll. There is a deal on that webpage of how to fit your helmet, how to measure your head, and how to get the right one, and how to make sure it's fitting right. You want it to where it's right down here low like that. You want a Y on the sides. This is the buckle. This side's better. You want it on there, and you want it tight enough that you can talk, but not so tight that you can't cough. And MIPS, M-I-P-S, is a new acronym for a shell inside a shell. So if you strike your helmet, the helmet takes the torque and your head doesn't. But go to your local bike shop. They know all the questions and the answers and can direct you to what would work best for you. Okay. I got to go to 523 on this one. He's running his telemetrics so you can be able to see his miles per hour and be able to see his heartbeat. He's got a heart rate monitor on. And if he wants to, it's flat. If he wants to, he can go 38 miles an hour and pass everybody. But he's got two other buddies in here with their automobiles, and he's also operating his three-wheel bicycle and operating the camera. Because he likes to pass people 36 miles an hour and get a picture of them. And he still can talk to them. But his jersey says Ferrari on it. And this is a quattro belly. This one has 4 wheels. Very aerodynamic, very fast, weighs about 70, 75 pounds. Now he's going 7 because he just pulled off and he's just starting up the hill. And let's see what it say go to on him. 523. He's got a Garmin heart rate monitor on, and you know, I don't have all the camera technology that have. Here you go, 38 miles an hour. Heart rate never gets over 150. Okay, now he's got his buddies behind him. If those 3 get in the line, they're just going to check out on everybody else. He passes one girl and she squeals because he wasn't expecting. He's got a horn on there. He's got blinkers in there, and he's got his camera mount back here. And I don't know if he reaches back there and looks on, but made in the Netherlands. So there's the senior, right? He's smiling most of the way. He's passing 39 miles an hour on flat road. Sweet stuff. I've ridden one a little bit, just to say I've ridden one. Slowing down at the finish line. They had a lot of wrecks at the finish line because people stop in the middle of the road and get their hugs and stuff, and here comes somebody. And you know, after 100 miles, it's just something to watch out for. We've got some events here for the Cycle Fest, 17th, 18th, Tour de Tucson. There's a map of Canyon Lakes, and Wheel Brothers. They have a really good map. Starting in Midland, this is a few years ago, but I'm in here. Starting to get Apache Oil Company building down there. I was way over there on the side. I have a thing that says Ride Official, and I can sneak up at the front and I can start with the fast people at the front. This is only 300 people on there. We got our cheerleaders, and it's the 7 o'clock in the morning. You try. Supported ride, lots of restaurants, things to do. You can't do the 2 days, you can do 1 day. I'm gonna check roll on anything. My first one of these I did, I rode from Dillon to Big Spring and got a ride back home, and then the next day rode to Houston for teacher in service because I'm going to do the thing. And I didn't know I had a Diamondback Sorrento mountain bike. I didn't know you could put slick tires on there and go 5 miles an hour faster. I had those Bobby's tires, and myself and 2 grandmothers from Logan came to the finish line together. We were the last ones. There's a truck behind us with flashing lights, ready to pick us up. We're the last 3 come into Big Spring. We're starving. We go up there. There's 2 hamburgers. So I said, "Hey, just get those hamburgers, just cut them into fourths, and we'll just have a buffet later." But MS ride, minimum donations on this ride is $200. If you do the Houston or the Dallas, San Antonio, the donations go up to $400. There was a guy showed up to ride the Rockies one year, just trying to sell e-bikes or conversions, and they kind of drew the ire of some people because we were all in 2 lines going up the Dallas Divide, Lizard Head Pass. One of those, we're just marching along at 5 miles an hour, and so. But that's been 10 years ago. It's more commonplace now, but they do have classes for them. This deal showed a bunch of recumbents, that they're all recumbents and tandems in a class. And this is in the back end, and that overpass is on down there. But this many people, you just want to make sure you don't overlap your wheels. If you overlap wheels and the person in the back, you're probably going to go down. If they don't go down, they have a lot of skills because it's hard. And it usually happens to the couple, the husband and wife, and they look up for a minute, touch those wheels, and there comes the recumbents and the hand cyclists and the kids in the back, and get some help going on the overpass there. A homemade snowmobile. Election signs, duct tape. And you get up medal at the finish line if you come back to the finish line. The next rides are close by, but we're on the route. If we have 300, 400 riders from Midland to Lubbock, we'll have 300 or 400 volunteers going with us. They'll be driving alongside us at a slower pace. E-bikes are really hot. The couple in my neighborhood that come by my house on Saturdays, they're going pretty slow. Check out your homeowner's insurance on that kind of stuff. All right, just for fun, Ed Pratt. This isn't just for fun, Colin. Ed Pratt, he unicycled across the United States. Now he's from Great Britain, and he's on Old Highway 66 here. This is Amarillo, and he found a Chinese national that rode with him for several days. But he's riding this 36-inch unicycle across the U.S. and around the world. And, gosh, 21 years of age, you're high tech, you got all this camera stuff, and everything he owns is on that bike there. It's a neat story. But you're not going to find me riding on I-40. You're not going to find me riding on Highway 287 by myself. He camped out, he's got a tent, sometimes he has hosts that put him up. And, I'm just not going on this road by myself. We did have some sections in Colorado, and part of our entry fee paid for Colorado State Police on their motorcycles to give us escorts across dicey areas. And he's got his track on here, his GPS is on Highway 287. And I thought, well, I want to catch this one little bit about Amarillo. He ran into another cyclist, made a U-turn, came back, talked to him. This fellow is ridden in Japan, and he's got his own YouTube station, and he's a good storyteller. He gets down here somewhere and goes to a rodeo, and before you know it, he's on the back of the bronc, and somebody else is trying to ride the motorcycle. But it's entertaining. Ed Pruitt. Right around Lubbock, we got rattlesnakes. So just be on the lookout. That's on our trails out here at Bay Simmons. So if you come across a rattlesnake, just stop. You just get a drink of water, let the critter go on. We have a group here in town that goes out there and mows a section off of that once a year. A trail maintenance or volunteers. The city of Lubbock doesn't really do a whole lot, but they let us ride for free. So that's okay. You're out in the country. I'm more worried about running over stuff from the tornado. Texas Tech has a bike shop in the rec center. Okay. Let me know how to do on time.
So, yeah, we're right at 7, so
Okay.
I just asked if there was any final questions that they had online.
Questions? Anything else? E-bikes? Look at this web page on there. There's how to find a bike, and it takes you through all kinds, and it'll show you a price. But then go over it and look and see about availability, sizing. This is a 61 centimeter bike. For me, I'm 6'4". It's measured from the center of the crank to the top there. It snaps 3. That's 61 centimeters. If you get the right size bike, it just solves a whole lot of problems. Most people, I would guess, if I went out here on a bike ride, half the people are on the wrong size bike. There's a service where they can put you on and do all the biometrics and get you set up exactly where you need to go. But my time is up. My webpage is kentcrowl.weebly.com. And one of our sponsors was a beer commercial. It was a beer company in Fort Collins. And they contracted with a food truck company to build them a couch bike for $4,000. I built a couch bike. But anyway, these are funny. Those are the first date, then there's the roommates, and then different days. But the first date is bad if they have a beer, and things get better before the commercial's over. Unfortunately, they don't sell this particular product anymore because the commercial weren't good enough. But Fat Tire Beer, New Belgium Brewery, Fort Collins. And I appreciate you coming out and giving me a chance to tell a few stories. Down at the very bottom of that webpage on Crowl's Creations is a box way down here. I got a whole bunch of pictures, but way on down here at the very bottom, if you fill this out, it'll send me an email. If you're interested in Bike MS Ride or July 4th Parade, or you have a question about any of this stuff, I'm not in the racing business, but I've got a few stories to tell. Thanks so much for your time. Any other questions? Last minute questions?
We didn't have you here.
All right.
Thank you, Kent.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Woohoo!
Shout out to
If Michelle and Terry, want to go for a ride sometime? If you want to try out the bike shops, are real good about letting you try stuff out. The e-bikes, which Velocity the other day, and they had 2 e-bikes in there. They're around 2,200, and they're about 65 pounds, and they have fat